today. Now I've got 52, I don't even know what this is, 52 AQI. The air index in Saigon apparently is pretty poor, and 31 degrees Celsius. So yeah, my name's Matt, and my channel is Matt's Vietnam Life, and I've been living in Vietnam for 15 years now, and my channel's all about my life in Vietnam, but also to help people with their decision making on how best to enjoy their experience in Vietnam, whether it's traveling or coming here to work and live. And I think I've got a fair bit of experience now, and I can offer you guys watching some good insights. So please ask your questions, drop your questions below, and we'll get things going. Whether you're watching this live or watching this after the fact, please leave your questions or comments below, because I get notified, and I'll get back to you pretty quickly. So this week in Saigon, I've been kept pretty busy because my Australian motorcycle license is expiring next month. And that's thrown up a whole lot of challenges for me, because my Vietnamese driver's license is tied to my Australian driver's license. So I've got to make sure I get my Australian one all sorted first, and that's been a little bit of a hassle for me. Probably not so much a hassle, but time consuming, because every 10 years you've got to get your photo taken, and so that photo has to be witnessed and verified and all the rest of it, and you need to find somebody to do that in Saigon. And the best possible person I could find, thanks to Mel's help, was my local GP at the medical centre that I go to. So if you've got any questions about that, let me know. Fire away at some point. I still haven't finished that process. I've got to then send everything via mail back to Australia, and then once that's all done, I'll have to undergo the process of renewing my Vietnamese driver's license. There's been a few changes as well, but I believe that in the major cities, the process is still the same. The office is still the same where you get your licenses renewed. So I'll be able to update you on that in the next couple of weeks to see. Actually, it'll be the middle of April. I'll be able to update you on that and give you an idea of the issues that I went through. So, as I mentioned today, it's already, 10 a.m. in the morning, and it's like 31 degrees, and it's quite humid, and the air quality is not good at all for a Sunday morning, which is quite surprising. We're at a garden cafe not too far from where I live, and as you can probably hear, we've got kids here. We've got tropical birds, and just about everyone is here, including every lady and their cat. I walked past a lady just before, and she's got her pet cat sitting on her lap, which was pretty interesting. And then just along the pathway a little bit was a couple of cages full of iguanas. So I might take you for a little bit of a walk around later on to show you this place, depending on the Wi-Fi. I'm not too sure how the Wi-Fi is at the moment. So I might take you for a bit of a walk around, although when I walk around, it tends to drop out a little bit, the Wi-Fi. But let me just give you a look at what's in front of me. And this is it here. And it's actually really huge. I don't know how big this place is, but it's right on a major road, and it's in a really massive place. So it also doubles, it's a cafe, but it also doubles as like a nursery or something like that for plants. So I think you can come here and buy pots and plants and stuff like that. So thanks to Mel, she found this place. I drive past it every day, and it's a little bit of an oasis in this particular area because it's quite industrial along here and on a major highway. So yeah, please drop your questions and see if I can answer them. Having a cafe soda today as well, so as usual. And it's pretty good. I recommend this place. It's called An Cafe, An Cafe, on Winhu Street in District 7 in Saigon. So District 7 people, pretty cool little place to check out when you're in the neighbourhood, and it's quite cool even though it's 31 degrees already. So yesterday last night I was busy uploading my latest video, so once you've done watching this, go and check that out. It's also got more tips about living in Vietnam and also a little bit of my take on my experiences of living in Vietnam as well, and it's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek take, and also the video came about because of questions and suggestions from you guys in the live stream. It gave me some motivation and some ideas. It's always a little bit difficult to keep coming up with video ideas, so if you've got any, if you can think of any, please put them in the comments and I'll have a look at them and see what I can come up with. Okay, so the driver's license, I don't know if I want to talk about the driver's license anymore, but it is definitely a bit of a process. So if you're someone like me living in Vietnam and you're looking at renewing your license, there's also the process where apparently you can get a license that is valid for your entire life, which is kind of interesting. So you can go to one of the licensing or motorcycle places and do a proper test. So that's good, so you don't have to renew all the time. Oh, I hear the birds. Okay, so apart from my licensing that I've been doing the past week or so, every week I try and get myself out of the apartment. I give myself a break from the videos that I make, the editing and the idea process. It can be pretty tiring and pretty draining. It's not that much fun. So I always make myself get out of the house. And so what I usually do is I go for a walk, and it's good for health and fitness as well. But I typically go for walks around the neighbourhood, and last Friday, Friday morning, I put the walking shoes on and headed off out into District 7, where I live, but into the sort of lesser known areas of District 7. I like to go and explore those places, and I have a few local coffee shops that I like to go to, which is cool, and really just meeting up with people and chatting to the local people, because it's actually quite easy to stay in your apartment and live in your own little bubble. So I make a point of doing that, and the interesting thing is that people are very willing to come up to me and ask me what I'm up to, why I'm walking around in the hot sun in the middle of the day by myself in the back blocks of District 7. And they're all very interested in what I'm up to, my life and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's good to get out there, get into some local food as well that I mightn't have tried before. And I've built up a little bit of a network of people that I know on my walk around, which is kind of funny. And even the other day, um, I went to one of my favourite bungun. Hey Kevin, how are you? Watching from West Virginia in the USA. What time of day is it in West Virginia? Let me know. And how's the weather? Is it 31 degrees like it is here? Anyway, I've got a favourite bungun place. Bungun is, for those who don't know, it's like rice. I don't know if it's not really paper, but it's a liquid. It's made out of rice. Sometimes I think coconut. Yeah, it's like a crepe. That's it. That's the word I was looking for. It's a consistency like a crepe, and then it's poured onto like a what do you call it? Calico. It's almost like a calico kind of layer with a little bit of heat, and it steams up, and then the lady will do a circular motion. It becomes like a big round, like a crepe, and then they put stuffing, mushrooms and stuff like that in it, and onions and stuff, and it's typically a breakfast dish, and then they roll it up. Gun means rolled. It means rolled, I think. And I've got a favourite place near a market in District 7, and nearby there's a lady who she makes coconut milk. So she'll get coconuts, and she sells the coconut milk, she sells the coconut water, she sells the, the flesh of the coconut as well. And then she does deliveries around. So the other day when I turned up, she was heading off on a delivery, and I said, hey, can I get on the back? So I did. I got on the back and I went around, and it was kind of like a little part-time job for me. I was helping her out doing a delivery run, which was kind of cool. Okay, let me look at the chat. Kevin, it's technically 31 Fahrenheit here. Yeah, okay. I don't know what 31 Fahrenheit is, but it seems like it's pretty cold. Yeah. I'm not very good with those systems. Rabbit, how are you? I find the Viets that speak English enjoy practicing with Westerners whenever you encounter them. Yeah, totally. And it's to the detriment of my Vietnamese, actually. Yeah, I find that as well. I think a lot of the time people obviously don't get that opportunity to have a natural sort of conversation with a native English speaker. And actually, while I was walking around, I was heading home, and I walked past a luxury second-hand car dealership in the neighbourhood, and they were selling things like Mercedes-Benzes. I think there was a Porsche in there as well. And one of the salesmen came out, and he introduced himself, and he started speaking to me in pretty good English, and we had a good conversation. I was trying to throw in a fair bit of Vietnamese as well, because it's always a good opportunity for me to improve my pronunciation, or to check out my pronunciation. But he was up for a massive chat. I thought at one stage he was trying to sell me a luxury car, but I made it pretty clear that I wasn't in the market for that. But one thing I learned about this is that there's not a lot, but there's quite a few second-hand luxury car dealerships sort of opening up, it seems, and there's quite a lot of Mercedes-Benzes and BMWs and Porsches that are second-hand that have gone on the market. And I don't know whether that's because people are updating, or that people are going broke and they're downgrading in their vehicle choices. I don't know, but there's a lot of really good bargains out there. If you've got the cash to blow on a second-hand luxury car, there's a lot of really nice looking cars out there. But I imagine the downside is when you buy one, you've got to park it, and you've also got to service it as well. Kevin, I'm learning Central Vietnamese. Okay, well, I think you're learning the most difficult version, aren't you? Um, I think everyone, including the Vietnamese, they lament talking to people from the central part of Vietnam because the language is so different, and the pronunciation is different, and the words are different as well. The vocabulary is different. So I've got a friend who dated a lady from the central part of Vietnam, and he was just like, I don't understand what's going on at all. I've also got another friend who's been here for 30 years or so, and he's very good at Vietnamese. His wife's Vietnamese, married for 20 years, 25 years or something, been living here for 30. His Vietnamese is great, and he's always told me that Central Vietnamese and Vietnamese from Phu Quoc, the southern island, is the most difficult. He's just like, no. Okay, so Kevin, are second-hand cars in Vietnam free from tariffs? No idea. I'd imagine that the international tariff has already been paid on it, I suppose. Um, I don't know. Initially, I'd say, imported as new, yes, that would be my guess. But I'd say once it's in the country, I suppose you would just pay a goods and services tax on the car. Um, I'm not sure what it is on cars, and I'm not sure what it is on luxury cars as well, but I think the the VAT for food and non-alcoholic beverages is still 8%, I think, and everything else, as far as I know, is 10%. I could be wrong on that. There was going to be a change, but in terms of cars and luxury cars, I don't know what you would pay. But I would imagine that definitely the import tariffs would already have been paid on it, I guess. I can't imagine that you would pay that again. Kevin, the person in central Vietnam told me it's the sweeter dialogue. Yeah, okay, well, they would. I mean, if they're from there. I've got plenty of good Saigon friends, close Saigon friends, I should say, and they believe that their version of Vietnamese is the sweeter one, the better one. Yeah, I think it all depends on where you come from. I actually quite like the Hanoi one. As a learner of Vietnamese, the Hanoians tend to pronounce every vowel and consonant. So, for example, before I said Ban Gun in Saigon, that's how you would say it, but in Hanoi it's more Ban Guon, I think. So yeah, they'll tend to pronounce it. So it makes it easier, actually, for learners of Vietnamese to speak the Hanoi dialect. But I live in Saigon, so I don't have an affinity with the language up there. It's more down here in Saigon. Kevin, I looked at a Toyota in the Philippines. It's under $10,000. In Vietnam, it's $17,000 plus about a $3,000 fee. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it used to be about 300%. I don't know if that's the case now. I don't have a car, so I'm not really in the market. I don't look for cars, and I don't sort of look at that sort of thing. But the rule of thumb used to be about 300%. But I think it depends on the type of vehicle, whether it's a luxury car or just a regular sort of, Toyota or something like that. I'll just give you another view. It looks like it's going to rain, actually. Gee, we've had some funny weather this year. Oh no, the sun just came out when I changed it. Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, usually I do it on a rooftop or with a view that, might showcase the beauty of this city. But today it's pretty smoggy. I don't really know why. It may have something to do with the humidity as well. There's next to no wind, whereas last week I think when we did the live stream it was quite windy. This week it's quite a bit different. All right, Kevin, the motorbikes in Vietnam are cheap. The same bike in Vietnam is $900 and over here it's almost $5,000. Yeah, it might have something to do with, well, where are you? You're in the States, right? Yeah, so things obviously are a bit more expensive over there, but also a lot of the bikes that end up here on the market, they're either made or assembled in Thailand, I think. So Honda has factories in Thailand. I think Honda probably has factories in Vietnam as well, so they make them under license in Vietnam. A lot of the sort of bigger luxury bikes, you might call them, like Triumph, for example, I think their main distribution center and production centers are in Thailand. So I'm assuming that, it's cheaper to do that. And I'm looking down because I've got the iPad again here. Hello. I've got a little friend here and she's saying hello. Wow, and there we go, hula hoop. I don't think I can fit into those hula hoops. She's carrying around some little hula hoops. Yeah, so Kevin, that might be a big part of it. And in Vietnam, things are cheaper. All those sort of economic things that I'm not fully aware of and across probably cause that. DJ Dan. Hi, DJ Dan. Good to see you back. I think you were on about 3 or 4 months ago. Made in ASEAN, Vietnam versus importing. Complete cars, that is luxury versus engine sign. All have a bearing on taxes paid. Yeah, that really makes sense. I think in a roundabout way I was trying to say that, but I think you expressed that a lot better than what I did. So we've got 12 in the live stream. That's pretty cool. So if you've got any questions about Vietnam and or my life in Vietnam, make sure you drop them in the comments section. Okay, I'm ploughing through this iced coffee this morning. Rabbit, I'm not missing driving and relying totally on Grab. Yeah, fair enough. We drove here this morning. Actually, Sundays, I'm not too keen on driving on Sundays because everybody's just driving around going to different places. They're not driving in the one direction. So it's a bit of a pain. You've got to be really careful. But I can see where you're coming from, Rabbit, not driving. One of my main missions in life is to never own a car again. But I love motorbikes. So, I think I'll be riding a motorbike till the end of my days anyway. So, I just love riding bikes. But yeah, I get your point, and Grab is so easy and convenient.
Thôi thôi vứt 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 bỏ đây đi con, ném ở đây đi. Rồi ném kia luôn, đây kia ném luôn. Rồi ok được rồi. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be right, Rabbit. Yeah, bit safer to walk in District 1. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, that's the upside of Sundays walking around District 1. There are fewer motorbikes on the footpaths and speeding around, but out in sort of coming into District 1, I usually notice it from District 7 to District 1. People are just crossing over and, pulling up in front of you or suddenly turning left or whatever, as opposed to a work day where everyone's sort of going in the same direction. It's a lot more manageable. Kevin, unless you live in New York City, you have to drive in the States because everything is so far apart. Yeah, it's like in Australia. You got to have a car, Any sort of consideration for me and Mel in terms of going back to Australia to live, the conversation involves a car, and obviously where we're going to live if we did it, but you need a car, Kevin, I noticed everything follows National Highway 1 over there. Well, I think what you're referring to is, the Highway 1 that goes from right up the top down into Saigon. So yeah, everything sort of feeds off that, I guess. TJ, bit safer to walk in any large Vietnamese city on a Sunday? Is that what you mean? I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, Highway 1. Yeah, it's something I try to avoid when I'm on the motorbike. It's a nightmare. I actually don't mind the trucks. It's the big buses, the coaches, the travel, what do you call them? The tourist buses or whatever. It's common for them to drive side by side, and I've had some horrible experiences and near-death experiences with those guys. But the trucks aren't too bad. They tend to keep in their lane and they let you know they're coming. And it's safer to walk in any large Vietnamese city. Sorry, when visiting as a tourist. Do you mean it's a bit safer now since the change in law? Is that what you mean? I think that might be what you mean, because it's not necessarily a change in law, but a clampdown on the laws, and they were supposedly trying to stop motorbikes riding on footpaths, which I think largely they've achieved. The downside about it at the moment is that I was driving around Saigon the other day, and they're pulling up all of the pavement, the tiles and stuff like that. So it's like a dust bowl at the moment. And I guess they're preparing for April 30. April 30 is obviously the 50-year anniversary of the end of the war. So they're going to have some big events that are going to happen. And that reminds me, actually, I'm planning on doing a live stream on April 30. I think it's a Wednesday though. So I'm not really sure what time I'm going to do it, but I'll let you guys know anyway. And they're going to have jets flying in, because Saigon is typically a no-fly zone, but so it'll be a very different experience seeing jets flying over the city. Rabbit, Saigon is safer now. Penalties for driving on pavement were increased. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it's a great move. I'm not I spend most of my time on the motorbike, really. But as I mentioned earlier, I do a lot of walking these days. And I'm constantly worried about motorbikes clipping my ankles or running over my calves or whatever. And I'm very, especially when I'm with Mel, I'm very protective of Mel. It's just that inbuilt thing, isn't it, when you've got your partner with you, and I'm just constantly on the lookout. And I think it's the best thing that they've, not the best thing that they've done, but it's a great initiative to get motorbikes off the street. I'd also like to see them move parking as well, even though I've always loved being able to drive up to my favourite cafe or restaurant or bar, not bar, sorry, no drink driving, restaurant or cafe, and just park out the front. TJ, did not know there was change in the law. Got it, regarding riding bikes on pavements. Yeah, I think technically the law was already in. I think it's just been a bit more of a clamp down on that happening, which, as I said, is great. A lot of the sort of the news about those laws at the start of the year, I went sort of looking for them because I really wanted to know what laws I was breaking, unintentionally on the motorbike. And I noticed that a lot of those sort of laws had already been in. It was just an increase in fines, which are huge increases for the average person. Rabid. I've been on a grab bike when he's taken a shortcut on the path. Yeah, I know, they're taking a risk, aren't they? I still see it a lot. I still see them driving the wrong side of the street and stuff like that. I hope you can hear me. There's kids off to this side, and they're starting to get a bit tired and cranky, I think. And they're starting to argue with each other. But anyway, yeah, there are still people taking a lot of risks, which is kind of crazy. I can't believe that. And I'm hyper vigilant when it comes to riding my motorbike. I think it helps as you get older as well. There's no need to try and impress people and go fast and all that sort of stuff. And I'm sort of adopting the Vietnamese way of life, I think, or the attitude, and that is, I'll get there when I get there. Okay. Hey, Emil. Good to see you. What time is it over there? NGL. Sorry, I'm not familiar with that. I love when Matt said you can Nigerian and my last video. I'm glad you got that. There was only one other person who got that, and that I put that in there on purpose for people like you who would pick up on that. So I'm pleased that you got that. The other person who got it was a Australian YouTuber who's living in Saigon at the moment, and she speaks Vietnamese. She's got Vietnamese heritage. So that was her comment was very similar. So yeah, glad you like that one. Emil is of course talking about my video from last week. So go and check that out if you want to find out what I'm talking about. And I don't know, I said one of the worst or rudest words in Vietnamese language. TJ, stopping at a red light is another one. Yeah, that's another one. Yep, for sure. And also the line. I believe they're clamping down on people, sort of hedging over the line.
Pedestrian?
No, the motorbike, the front wheel. I was always someone who sort of followed the Vietnamese lead, and that was like go across the line and wait in between the line and the pedestrian crossing. And now it's another reason to get done. So I'm very conscious of that these days, and turning right as well. But much safer. I really like that clamp down on the turning right rule, and also T intersections as well. typically people will continue on in a straight direction if there's no light or anything like that. And if there's a red light I don't know how to explain it without showing you on with what do you call it, graphics or anything like that, but at a T intersection at a red light, people going straight would continue going straight. But the problem is, if you stopped following the red light, there's a risk of people running into you from behind. So it's hopefully eliminating that potential risk. Emil, dad jokes are great. Well, actually, I'm getting into the league of granddad jokes now. I'm getting to that age, and a lot of the guys I went to school with are now posting photos of their grandchildren online, and that's out there, dude. That's a bit much to handle. Emil, I threw a few dad jokes in my latest video as well. Hopefully they go over okay. We'll see. We'll see in the coming days. I touch on a couple of things that might strike a nerve with people. So let me know what you think next week in next week's live stream. DJ Dan, never sully the name of the king of fruit. No, I didn't. It wasn't about... I actually like durian a lot. I don't eat it enough, but usually when I walk around, I'll see it for sale, but it's fairly pricey, I think. Although the prices have gone down. Prices have gone down a bit for durian. I think there was a big season last year or this year or whatever. So, yeah, I don't mind durian, but yeah, DJ Dan, you'll probably have to watch last week's video to see what Emil's talking about. You'll like it because you'll get it. You'll absolutely get it. Oh yeah, Mel's just reminding me of the pineapple that I posted. What's that? Pineapple. Oh, this is pineapple juice. Not as sweet as the mini pineapple. The mini pineapple that I posted in my whatever it is notes tab yesterday or a couple of days ago. So keep an eye out for those if you're in Vietnam at the moment. They are sensational. Kevin, Vietnam has the highest traffic fatalities in the world. Oh, does it? I didn't know that. I would have. I'm assuming it's per capita. According to population. I imagine Thailand is high as well. There's a lot of motorbikes there. Actually, another country that's becoming popular with motorbikes is the Philippines. Philippines as well. I'm assuming that there's probably pretty high fatalities with them at the moment. Melanie, DJ, Dan. Is that pomelo? Mel.
I was looking for a durian.
All right. Emil, I saw your latest. Very informative. Okay, cool. And the jokes were good. Well, that means a lot, Emil. I was a little bit worried about it. I was playing catch up all this week because I've got a friend in town who lives in Bangkok, and he's actually Canadian, part British Canadian. So I was sort of juggling multiple things this week with my license renewal, my friend coming over and doing my latest video, and I was just behind the 8 ball the whole time, and I didn't actually get it up online until about 11 o'clock last night, our time. So different sort of upload time. I hope it goes okay. I'm just trying to do something a little bit different in terms of Vietnam content. DJ Dan is talking to Kevin. TJ. Admittedly, it's a bit fun when you see all these laws being flouted in Vietnam, especially coming from Australia where flouting traffic laws is forbidden. Yeah, totally. There's been a lot of interesting studies over the years. Now, just a little bit about my background. I come from like a university background. I have, just quickly, I have multiple university degrees. I have a master's in education and undergraduate degree in linguistics, applied linguistics, but that's in a past life. And I used to work in universities as well, so I had access to a lot of studies and stuff like that. And so there are a lot of studies on people moving from their home country to a foreign country and how it changes their thinking on things. So, for example, corruption might be one that comes to mind very quickly. You know, in Australia, I think it's fair to say that we would have a very negative attitude towards corruption. So when you come to Southeast Asia and you experience that or come face to face with that, it's a real challenge. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to get into trouble, and I don't want this channel to become sort of mired in issues like that. But I guess my point is that it challenges your worldview and it challenges your values. It might challenge your morals, your ethics and stuff like that. So I think I raised it a little bit in a video a while back where I was talking about Vietnam and, you know, is Vietnam right for you? And, you know, if you're someone who has perhaps sort of underlying health issues, for example, in your home country, is Vietnam the right choice for you? If you're someone who's easily swayed into, I don't know how to say this in a PC kind of way, but you're probably more open to breaking the rules. Is Vietnam a place for you? That sort of thing. I don't know if I'm making sense, but please comment below to help me clarify what I'm trying to say in a G-rated kind of way. I've got my iPad here, so I'm just looking down at that. So I'm looking at the comments. But yeah, TJ, yeah, that's a really good point. It's a really good topic, and without going into too much detail, what people typically say is that there is a lot of grey in Vietnam and also in other Southeast Asian nations. I don't know if you know, but my wife is Filipino, so you know, obviously she's from the Philippines, and there's a lot to be said about what's happened there and what's going on at the moment, and also in relation to laws and corruption and stuff like that. But I can't really get into that on a live. Kevin, I read there are 90 poisonous snake species in Vietnam, some 30,000 snake bite victims each year. Wow. Yeah, I had no idea about that. 90 poisonous snakes. That's more than Australia. I grew up on a farm, so I'm quite sensitive to snakes. I'm not the what was his name? Steve Irwin. I'm not the Steve Irwin type when it comes to snakes. I grew up in the era where our parents would, you know, if any snakes were in the vicinity of our house, they were dealt with. A little bit different from now. But we do have some of the most poisonous snakes in the world. Well, that's interesting, Kevin. 90 poisonous snakes. Wow, interesting. 30,000 snake bites. I wonder how many deaths. Kevin, what other kind of dangers exist there as far as animals and insects?
Dogs.
Well, I was going to say not necessarily to life, but dog ownership is becoming a real thing now. So, you know, and cat ownership. There's a lady with a cat here on a leash. But dog ownership, like, 15 years ago, no one really had dogs as pets. And the other day when I was doing my walk around District 7, there were two instances, two different dogs that came for me. One was a poodle, so I was pretty brave with that one. And another one was more of a cattle dog size dog, and he wasn't backing off. And fortunately, there was a security guard nearby, and he picked up a lump of concrete and threw it at the dog, missed it, and then bounced on the road. Fortunately, there wasn't a car or a motorbike coming the other way because it would have slammed into them. Anyway, it got rid of the dogs, which was great. But that's one. The other thing is mosquitoes, of course. There's a fairly high prevalence of dengue fever, and I think maybe to a lesser extent malaria. I'm not sure what the malaria status is in Vietnam, but there are definitely outbreaks of dengue. But other than that, I don't really feel threatened about animals here like I would in, say, Africa or maybe Australia, you know. No real shark attacks here. None, actually, to be honest. And birds in Australia. We've got a lot of stuff. But probably in terms of a threat to your life, you're probably talking about traffic accidents, as you mentioned earlier. That's the thing that's always on my mind. The other thing would be stormy season, trees falling down. That happens a fair bit each year. What else have we got? Probably best to use Emil says probably best to use common sense. Well, I think that's the thing. Sometimes common sense isn't common. So especially when you have different people living in the same space, we all have a different idea of how to behave. So sometimes it's not that common, I guess. 8,000 deaths from sex each year. Wow. I had no idea. Maybe that's a video idea. Wow. Rabbit. Yeah, that's a good point. Snake bites are mostly rice farmers, not tourists. Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah. I'll just put that there. Yeah, that's interesting. I've never considered really. I see those videos about cobra farmers. They farm cobra snakes down in the Mekong. But I've never really considered too much how much of a threat they are to the farmers down there. But it makes total sense. The climate and the amount of water and food and rats and mice down there. So, perfect environment. DJ Dan, need to carry an umbrella to ward off the stray dogs and the beating sun. Yeah, I might have to do that. I'm definitely gonna change my route, I think, especially from the bigger dog that I saw the other day. I mean, it can spoil your day. Kevin, I'd like to go caving and getting off the beaten path a little for photography and things. Yeah. Plenty of caving up, what is it, sort of north, what do you call it? North Central? Pham Nha, Ninh Binh, places like that. Plenty of caving up there, but I think it's limited. You've really got to book well in advance. It's very popular, and they limit the amount of numbers. I've never actually been there. I haven't been caving. I had an opportunity to go years ago, and I knocked it back for whatever reason. But yeah, it'd be good to get up there. Oh, Kevin, you got lots of good questions. So you see many snakes? No, don't see many snakes, but heaps of rats. There are heaps of rats. The city's crawling with rats. Yeah, you're never too far from one. And I remember a few years ago, I think my brother was here, and we were walking around near Notre Dame Cathedral, and there's always lots of tourists around there, and I literally saw a rat run halfway across the street, and there was a tourist standing still, a man who was quite tall, and the rat thought I guess he thought he was a tree or a downpipe or something like that, and actually ran up his leg. Yeah, I couldn't believe what I was seeing right in the middle of town, but there are rats everywhere. District 7 is full of them. Yeah. Have you eaten rat, Kevin? If you go down into the Mekong, I've got a video. Oh, the kids are fighting here. They're not my kids, by the way. Tita Mal is going to. I have a video on eating rats. Kevin says we'll never eat rat. Well, don't say that until you've tried it. It's actually sensational. It's very much like the Hayway, the crispy pork belly. Beautiful, down in Sadek. But going back to you, Kevin, so you see many snakes or rats and things in the city. Heaps of rats. Here we see a lot of mice and snakes, but they don't usually attack you. Okay, that's good. That's good. Emil, for instance, definitely not common sense to make a political joke about Americans and corruptions on a travel channel. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Yep, totally. I don't want my channel to be like that anyway. I want my channel. Oh, thank you. I want my channel to grow into a healthy, safe, and fun community about Vietnam. So, yeah, I'm not into that sort of stuff. That's not my motivation. Kevin will never eat rat. Yeah, you should give it a go. I killed a rattlesnake once with a rock. Nice work. Hi Vu, Xin Chao, how are you? You're getting close to your trip here. How are you feeling about it? That reminds me, if I think Vu, you're coming on the 31st of this month, and I think Daz, who's not online today, he's already down in Kanta in the Mekong, so I think we're going to meet up at some point. We need to settle on a day. I think Daz is here on the 27th, so if there's anyone else watching who's in Saigon, hit me up. Maybe we can catch up. Emil, no, rice field rats are not like crispy pork belly. Don't tell me that. Just kidding. Check out my video on it. I've got a little short video about it, and it's sensational, to be honest. When I went there, I went specifically that particular time to Sadek because I had an acquaintance or a friend, and he's from Sadek, and he told me, he said, you gotta go to Sadek for the field rats or the field mice. And I went to a restaurant called Hai Lua, which is kind of means like country bumpkin or something like that, the hillbilly restaurant. And I went in there and I said, can I go into the kitchen and see how the rats are prepared? And they were like, no, we don't want you to go in there and see what happens. But they came out looking totally not like what I expected. Put it this way, no heads and no tails and no little feet. I'm feeling excited, I bet you are. You're coming on the 30th, perhaps meet up on the 1st of April Fool's Day. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, I'll be in touch with you and Daz. I think Daz is going to be in town on the 27th. Kevin, is it easy to find a church in Vietnam? Very easy in the south, for sure. They're everywhere. They're everywhere in Saigon. Yep. Not too sure in Hanoi. There's the famous the famous church in Hanoi, right in the centre of town. I can't remember the name of it, but there are plenty of churches in Saigon and in the south. Of course, there's a history behind that as well. So, yeah, predominantly in the south, I think. Yeah, Vu. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and that goes for anyone in Saigon around about that time. Hit me up if maybe a few of us can meet up and hang out. I'm up for that. That's okay. Kevin, I want to travel to Thailand and eat those lizards. Okay, so you won't eat a rat, but you'll eat a lizard. Okay. And fresh cashews and go to the Philippines and try purple ice cream. Well, Vietnam is also one of the biggest cashew producers and exporters in the world as well. There's some great cashews here and peanuts as well. The ube, I've got another little kid down here at my feet. The ube ice cream, ube it's called. It's like a purple yam or a kind of, it's a yam or a taro. It's really good. It's really good. I don't know about the lizard though. I'm not sure what lizard you're talking about. Is it like an iguana or something like that? Vu, lunch or dinner? I think we should do lunch because you wanted to go to the place that you have fond memories of, and I think it's only open for lunch from memory. And then maybe a sneaky beer afterwards, and then this old fella will be ready to go home and have a nap. Yeah, you're staying in District 1, Boo. Yep. So that's easier. I can find my way in there and we'll have something to eat. Kevin, little tree lizards on a stick. Okay. Oh, see, I'm not sure if I'd be into that. I don't know. Not too sure. I'm an avid meat eater, but I'm not too sure if I can do lizards. I might take the opportunity just to show you around a little bit in this cafe here. It might be somewhere something that's quite interesting for you. Just bear with me though, because I'm not sure how stable the internet is here, but I won't go too far. I'll just go around.
Ê, đừng ném đá con, ơi, đừng ném đá chim con, nha, không ném đá nha.
I'm a bit sweaty, so it goes out the back there, and I think that's where they sell a lot of their plants and garden products and stuff like that. There's lots of pots over there. Well, kids love it here. I don't know what this one is. This looks like a papaya. Oh no, hang on. Well, that's a lemon. Yeah, it's a lemon tree, I think. But this almost looks like a what do you call it? Cocoa, but it's lemon. It's a lemon. So it's very lush. Just going to go down here a little bit. Oops. Sorry, I'm trying not to get the kids in it, but... Now, Kevin, you mentioned lizards. Hang on, I'm trying not to get the kids in here because I don't want kids on my stream. But here you go. Hello. Huh? Yeah, this is a lizard. Cái này là lizard. I think Australia. So I've got the little kids here. They're your new toy. They're asking me where I'm from. But this is sort of an example of popular cafes in and around Saigon, and there are places here to hang out, tables and chairs and stuff like that. As you can see, it's huge. There's also an aircon area as well. Thanks, Vu. You got me a bag of licorice all sorts. All right, nice. I'd love the bullets, but bullets as in, for people who don't know, they're licorice and chocolate. If it's no hassle, you don't have to. Yeah. Kevin, maybe you could do a video of top foods to try in Vietnam. Yeah, I might. Hang on, something's caught my attention. I'll get back to you on that question, Kevin. Hang on. We've got some kind of bird over here. Hang on, what is this? Some kind of, I don't know what that is. Let me know. I have absolutely no idea what it is. It's kind of purple and green. Okay. But Kevin, yeah, maybe you could do a video of top foods to try in Vietnam. Yeah, I was doing quite a few food videos, or at least food content on Vietnamese food, but what I kind of discovered was that, one, it's very labor intensive. You know, it's quite an undertaking, you know, to do food videos in this climate. Although, speaking of food, here we go, something's coming. It's a pretty cool cafe, isn't it? I don't know if you can see that, but that's a rooster coming to check me out. Here we go. Here we go. He looks like he's in pretty good condition. But yeah, I used to do a fair bit of food content, and I used to be a food writer as well. So it was sort of a natural progression for me to sort of move from writing into doing videos on Vietnamese food. But what I found was that, as I mentioned, quite labor intensive, and my YouTube journey, as they talk about, it's fairly new, even though I've had a channel for quite a while. It's only been since the beginning of this year that I decided to make a go of the channel and give it a chance to grow and to breathe. And I've quickly found out that, yeah, labor intensive, but there are so many other people out there who do it better than me, you know. There's a lot of people doing Vietnamese food, and they're a lot more knowledgeable probably than me. So I thought I would just sort of put that to the side for a little bit. But seeing that you're interested in it, well, maybe I'll give it another crack at some point. Okay, sorry, I'm just scrolling through my... Kevin, I see videos here of food, but it's by chefs, so you don't know the difference between what it's really like. They don't know the difference between what it's really like over there. Yeah, possibly, yeah. Yeah, you're right. To Vietnam and jump out again, and they seem to do really well. So yeah, I'm not sure yet in that regard. For now, I think I'm just going to follow on this route. Although now that you've mentioned it, you know, this is the sort of the, what do you call it? The thought process you go through when you've got a fairly small channel and you're trying to develop it and grow it a little bit, you know, you question yourself all the time. Ragu, where is this? Ho Chi Minh City. Yes, this is Ho Chi Minh City. I live in Ho Chi Minh City. I've been living in Ho Chi Minh City. There's another little kid since 2010. So I've been here for 15 years. And I'm at a cafe in District 7, just outside of the city centre. And it's kind of like a nursery for plants and gardening materials and stuff like that. So they've also made it into a cafe, and Melanie, my wife, she's just discovered it over the last couple of weeks, and it's a really good find. Let me just show you. I don't know if you can see. The lighting's a bit dull at the moment. We're actually getting a little bit of rain. And I don't want to stray too far because I'm worried about the internet dropping out, the Wi-Fi dropping out. What's the weather there now? Well, in Saigon it's really hot, hot and sweaty. And today, steamy. We've got a little bit of rain, believe it or not. I don't know if that's because of the amount of smog that we've got hanging over the city, but we've got a little bit of rain happening, unless it's the sprinklers. They might have put the sprinklers on. It might be watering time. I don't know. I don't really know. No idea. But it's hot. It's hot. If you're coming, well, you're coming to Saigon. So yeah, be prepared to get hot and sweaty and dirty, I guess. Yeah. Emil, some tour company should pay Matt to do a tour of Halong Bay or something similar. It would be great for the grandpa. Thanks, Emil. Thanks for your support. Oh, dear. Yeah, I know. To be honest, I don't know whether I'd survive one of those tours at the moment. I'm a little bit out of condition. And then if I had to film it and do content for it, I think I'd struggle. Rabbit Dog, I recommend, oh yeah, you're talking to Kevin, I recommend Chad Kubanov. Yeah, he lives in District 7 actually. I've seen him around once or twice. I saw him nearby once actually, Lotte Mart. He's doing really well, kudos to him. He's got a really successful channel. Good for him, you know, like he's obviously producing really good stuff. And very professional stuff as well. I noticed there was a real change about 12 months ago in the editing of his videos. He made a real push to you know, up his video quality. So yeah, he's going really well. Thanks, Mel. Matt is still in his uncle era. Yeah, I think I just still fit into that. Actually, the kids just before confirmed it. They were asking me where I was from and they were calling me Chu. So they weren't calling me Grandpa yet. They were calling me Chu, which is the, especially the southern word for uncle. So that's good to know. The kids are seeing me as an uncle. Rabbit Dog, Chad lives in D7 too and takes his kids along. Yep, that's it. Yeah, he does a good job. Chad does a really good job, and I have respect for anyone going on this sort of YouTube thing, you know, doing this YouTube journey, especially, I don't know how old Chad is, but obviously he's a father, so he's got a couple of kids. So he's managing to do whatever he does, do his videos, look after his family. So it's like anyone who's foreign and speaks Vietnamese on their videos, kudos to them. Sorry, these kids are running around and oh yeah, Kevin, that's a good idea. Maybe just have a food on the live stream every now and then. That's a good idea. I might do that. You guys can watch me eat and dribble food all over me. So yeah. That's a good idea. I might do that. So I don't know what food interests you guys though. You know, everyone does pho. Bunja. I have a favourite bunja place. That might be something. It's nearby. Kevin, for instance, banh mi. There are versions of it, but I don't know what it really is. In your video this week, you talked about coffee in depth. Oh, okay. Right, so interesting. All right, banh mi. Yeah, there's quite a few different versions, and probably one of the better ones is the Dalat style. You know, they have the banh mi siu mai. You might know it as siu mai. They're like a little dim sum, and you put them into a banh mi with sort of a tomato sauce. It's a real combo of sort of Chinese, French and Vietnamese, and they're really tasty. And when you go to Dalat, it's the thing to have. Apart from banh can, which is a very Dalat or sort of south central dish that's common there. Woo, you guys going to the banh mi? No, I don't think we're going to go to the banh mi festival. We went a couple of years ago. I'm aware that the location has changed, which is good. I think it's at Tan Dinh Park sort of on the border of District 1 and District 3. We went a couple of years ago when it was at the youth, what do you call it? The Youth Union on Pham Ngoc Tak Street in District 1, just behind Diamond Plaza. And the place was packed, absolutely packed. And it was a sweat fest more than anything, really. And it was, So, yeah, might give that a miss, I think. I'd say it'll be absolutely packed today, but good location. Emil, I don't know. Yeah, okay, Kevin. Imagine drinking batteries, talking about getting charged up. Yeah, that was a big issue a few years ago. Yeah, powdered. I don't know what it was exactly, but yeah, definitely ground up pieces of batteries or something like that found in coffee mixes. Kevin, my parents put cinnamon in their coffee. Saigon cinnamon is the best. Yeah, yeah, it's great and goes nicely in the salt coffee as well. And you can also, in the markets, you buy the cinnamon sticks, the massive cinnamon sticks, which are amazing. I mean, I don't buy them, but they offer them for sale and great smell. Rabadon buncha is really my favourite. Yeah, it is a great dish, isn't it? It's super good. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got your salad, your greens, your herbs and stuff like that. But it's also got the noodles, fish sauce. You can spice it up with the chili. I love the, what do you call it? The green papaya, the pickled papaya. I really love that. And then you've got the little, the jar itself, like little rissoles, it's a really good dish, great all-rounder, and no one dislikes it. Everyone likes it, and it's pretty hard to find a bad one. So yeah, I might do a live stream eating that then at one of my favourite places in District 7, not too far from my house. Vu, you still going to show me where the grab jackets are, right? Oh, well, yeah, but very easy to find if you're familiar with Saigon, which I think you are. I was driving behind New World Hotel just the other day, heading towards the intersection at the roundabout there where it's like the six, Nyasau, I think it's called, the intersection there. There's 6 streets that run off it, and there's a little shop there, and I saw grab jackets hanging up in there as I went by, so that might be the first port of call. And after that, I think some more local sort of markets might have them as well. I'll keep an eye out this week for them. I've got to go into town at some point, so I'll go and have a look at some places to see. Kevin, Mexican and Italian foods are the most popular here in the USA. Very popular here as well. We went out for dinner the other night with my friend who's visiting from Thailand, and we went to one of our favourites, and it's called Chow Bala if you're in Saigon. It's a classic old place, been around for, I don't know, probably 25 years now in Saigon, and it's a ripper. It's a ripper place to have Italian in Saigon. Now, I know a lot of you will say, what are you doing having Italian when you're in a country with great food? But every now and then you like to have some good Italian. Yes, DJ Dan, RIP Tony, yeah. Well, I'm happy to report that Chow Bala is still going strong, and my friend from Thailand, who lives, he's not Thai, we took him there and he rates it big time. So, and he's quite a traveller and into his food and wine as well. So he was very impressed. All right, let me just walk around a little bit more for you, and then I'll head back to my seat. I'm just mindful of this dropping out. I'm going to stay on for another 15 minutes, so fire away for the next 15 minutes, and then it'll be time for me to go and have lunch, I think. But keep this place in mind, An Cafe, A-N Cafe, on Win Hu Tho in District 7.
Có một cái chỗ bên gần nhà chị á. Ba Hà cái mình nhá. Ok luôn á.
I just had to put the camera on me because as I mentioned earlier, I'm quite conscious of having kids caught on camera. I don't want to have them on there. It's unavoidable sometimes though, especially in a public place. Oh, here's a lady with her cat. She's got a cat on a lead. There you go. How about that? This is Vietnam 2025. Okay, Kevin, we also love our Chinese restaurant, but I'm sure it's not authentic Chinese. Regionally, there are some great things in the US. Yeah, I've never been to the US, so I'd love to go. Kevin, there is Vietnamese food starting to grab hold in the cities here. Yeah, I hear that. Well, I mean, you have a large Vietnamese population, large diaspora around the world, and also in the States, of course, so there's a lot of great Vietnamese food there, I hear. For lunch, good question. I might have to ask Mel. What's for lunch, Mel? Oh, I think it was Kevin. I think Kevin got Mel thinking, and I think she wants to have some Mexican. So there's one in District 4, Tippy's, right? Tippy's in District 4. Haven't been there for a while, but I hear it's still really good. So how about that? Going to District 4 to have Mexican in Saigon. Rabid. Tippy's is small but awesome, yeah. And I think they've got another place in District 2, is that right? I think he's got his District 4 one. He used to, before the District 4 one, I think he had one in District 7. He definitely had one in District 7. I don't know which one was first. But I think he has one in District 2, or Tuduk now. Yeah. Oh, Gringos has gone to D2. Okay. That makes sense. Vu, can Mel speak Vietnamese?
Đi luôn mà.
Yeah, she's shaking her head. But I think Mel gets a bit of a pass when it comes to languages because she speaks about 3 anyway. She speaks English. She was educated in English. Her family spoke a lot of English and speak a lot of English at home. Mostly, I think. Maybe 50-50. Filipino. What's the difference between Filipino and Tagalog?
Regional.
Yeah, it's just regional. So I think in Manila it's Filipino, is it? I don't know. But she speaks English, Filipino / Tagalog, and a bit of Cebuano from Cebu. Visayan
Slash Spanish.
/ she could pick up Spanish really quickly, and also Malay. She would, if she went to Indonesia, she would be speaking Bahasa very quickly, very quickly. Rabbit Gringos, sorry. Kevin, today I made Jamaican baked beans with the rum and molasses. Wow. I've never heard... so it's sweet, I take it, and alcoholic. Wow. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Jamaican food. Wrong side of the world for me. Do you follow cricket, Kevin? Because we can talk cricket. Vu, is Mel joining us for lunch? So if you wanted to meet up on the 1st of April, what day is it? I don't really know what day it is. She has a real job and she works Monday to Friday. So if it's a weekday, she won't. Tuesday, yeah. If we meet up for lunch, she won't. She'll be at work. Kevin, my friend lives in Manila and speaks Tagalog, but her family speaks 0 English. Oh. Hang on. My friend lives in Manila and speaks Tagalog, but her family speaks 0 English. So they're not Filipino, right? Like her family is not Filipino, because surely they'd speak English. The sun's coming out. Mel's just popped away for a minute, but what's your favourite dish, Mel? She was asked this question last week and I can't remember what she said. Anything with pork, I think. Here's the cat. Kevin, they're Filipino. She and her sister speak English, but not her family. Wow. That's a little bit rare. I would have thought they speak some kind of English. Vaughn and Karina Grant. Hi guys, how you going? Thanks for watching. I just started watching Thoughts on the Challenges of Getting a Job Teaching English in Ho Chi Minh City, Changing Careers as a 50 plus. Oh. I think the first thing would be what are your qualifications and what's your experience? So obviously this has a bearing on. Okay, Kevin, cheers. Thanks for joining. Thanks for heaps of all of those questions too. Thanks a lot. See you next week, hopefully. Vaughan and Karina. First thing would be, what are I know you're changing careers, but what are your qualifications for teaching, and or do you have university degrees? And also, what experience do you have teaching? Because this will have a bearing on whether you can get a work permit. So in order to stay here for longer than a tourist visa, you need to get a work permit, which then gives you the right to get a temporary resident card, which means that you can come and go out of the country for as long as that's valid without getting visas and stuff like that. So in terms of jobs, how much job availability there is, I'm not too sure about job availability at the moment because I'm not really in that space at the moment. But I noticed that RMIT, the university that Mel works at, they have an English department and they're advertising for sessional teachers at the moment. I noticed that the other day. Typically for work permits these days, I think it's at least 3 years, isn't it, Mel? You need to show evidence of at least 3 years of experience in your country, or at least outside of Vietnam in that particular field. So my first answer to you guys would be, what are your qualifications? What's your experience in either in your country or at least outside of Vietnam that matches specifically with the job that you're going for in Vietnam? A few years ago, it was 5 years experience they wanted, but I guess it made it quite difficult to recruit, and they reduced it to 3. Yeah, and salary. So Mel's just made a good point. What's your salary expectations as well? Because they're quite reduced here. And, well, you're 50 plus, so I'm presuming that your kids may have left home already. So you won't be coming with kids. So that's another consideration for people who are in, sort of their 30s. What are they doing with their kids? How are they going to educate their kids? 20s and 30s, how are you going to educate your kids? So if you don't have kids, escaping the kids, yeah, lucky you. But that would be my thing. That would be my answer. Yeah, they're not bringing their kids. Since COVID, there's been a clampdown on hiring practices for teachers. They want more people here with appropriate qualifications and experience. So if you've got those, I think you would pick up a job fairly quickly, because the rules and regulations for hiring teachers is a bit more strict these days. I hope that answers your question initially.
Police check. Child.
Yeah, you would need police checks from your home country as well. I needed that. So when I came here 15 years ago, I was recruited out of Australia. So I was quite fortunate. I had a job to come to. And I had to show all that back then. I had to get a police check. I was living in Brisbane at the time, so in Queensland, in Australia. So I had to get a Queensland police check. I had to get all my qualifications notarized and stuff like that. So if you've got all that stuff, it might be pretty easy, I would hazard to say, to get a job teaching. Yeah, but teaching, as Mel's shown me, teaching I'm not too sure about teaching in public schools and also in private international schools as well. I don't really know what their requirements are, but I think as a rule, you need to show a minimum 3 years experience in your home country, perhaps in another country outside of Vietnam, but I'm certain that it's at least 3 years in your country, also with appropriate qualifications. But there might be other people who see this and they may have a different understanding of what it takes. I hope that's answered your question anyway. All right, I've got a couple of minutes left, so if you've got any final questions, I've got to go and eat. We're going to go and have some Mexican or Tex-Mex, is it? I think from Tippy's.
It's quiet turn now.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? We might have to come at lunchtime. Okay, cool. Thumbs up from Vaughan and Karina. Cheers. Okay, Vu. Okay. See you Is that this week? No, it's not this week, is it, Vu? It's the first, yeah, the following week, I think. Yeah. And Vaughan and Karina, I'm usually live every Sunday. Well, it has been morning, but I did it in the afternoon last week. I'm thinking about going back to the afternoon, sort of 4:30 Vietnam time, probably next week, because there are a few people over in the UK and in Canada who like to watch, so it'll be a little bit easier for them. All right, okay, that looks like it for questions and chat for this week. Thanks heaps to everyone watching. If you've got any comments or questions after the live, make sure you drop them in the comments and I'll get back to you pretty quick. I usually get notified, so I'll get back to you pretty quickly. All right, once again, thanks for joining. Great to see a lot of regulars in the chat and also some new ones. So cheers, thanks a lot, guys, and see you next week, possibly at a different time, but I'll let you know in advance. Cheers, have a good day.